I was just thinking today that when we previously went to a temple and we saw a deity, did you ever feel like, cuddling the deity or touching the deity? You don't feel like possessing, even if it's a statue, there's no intention to possess, because the vibration that we receive from the deity is that of detachment and love, and that comes from purity. So you see that even the images which are made in remembrance of deities, those images also send out that vibration where you feel that you're receiving all the love that the deity has to give you, but you don't feel like possessing or owning or applying force on the deity. So that's the kind of stage we are in when we are in Satyug. The stage where we are absolutely detached and totally loving. And Baba says that right now it's the complete opposite. Yes, so it's a world of complete attachment. And the attachment comes from what? The attachment comes from the lack of spiritual power in the soul. So because I, the soul, am depleted, that's why there's this tendency to cling on to everyone and everything. And if you look at it, what are the 5 vices? So lust is the attachment to sensual pleasure. Ego is the attachment to name, fame, and acquisitions and attainments. And attachment is the attachment to bodies, to relationships. Then greed is the attachment to things. And what is anger? When your attachment is not fulfilled, when your expectations originating from your attachments are not fulfilled, then there is anger. So if you look at all the 5 vices, there are various forms of attachment. And Baba tells us to become, detached and loving. And Baba says that the simple way to do that is to remember the one who is completely detached and absolutely loving, because the only way to draw in a quality is to remember the one who has that quality. So only when you make contact with someone who has that quality can you draw that quality. And it is very beautiful, that I remember that if you observe your personality, there are many qualities that you have, and most of them you're not even aware of. The virtues that you have, many times we are not even aware of. But once you start becoming aware of your virtues and you ask yourself, where did they come from? They came from having a relationship with that one who had that virtue. Yes, and I remember there was this one Kanya, this one girl, and she never back answered. She's, always, however much anybody would tell her, she would just keep quiet and not back answer. Of course, she'll get angry or irritated or whatever, but then she wouldn't answer back. And then if I look at her history, then her parents were like that, so they never answered back. So even if anybody told many things to them, they would never answer back. So this Kanya also didn't have this sanskar of back answering. And so these qualities, you see, they come with sambandh, this relationship. And the relationship is always a spiritual aspect. A relationship is not a physical aspect. So, although when we become very body conscious, we start thinking that relationship is a physical aspect. But a relationship is always a spiritual aspect. The soul forms a relationship with, another soul, or the soul forms a relationship with the Supreme Soul, Shibaba, or Shibaba comes and has a relationship with us. So it's always a spiritual aspect. And if you look at it, so and where there is no connection of the heart, there is no relationship. So only when there is a heart to heart connection, there is a relationship. Otherwise, if there is no heart to heart connection, then it's not a relationship, and there is no exchange, there is no connect, and there is no relationship. So Baba says that, in this world, even when we talk about, so let us take this example of relationships with people also. These days when we look around, it is all about the living on the surface of the skin, right? So we are all, it's a world full of body consciousness, and people think that, we are our bodies, and everybody is relating to their body and consequently relating to the other one's body. And then it's a very body conscious kind of interaction, and there is no relationship. That relationship doesn't result in exchange of spiritual energy. That relationship is not uplifting, that relationship is not recharging, because as we become very body conscious, we only relate to the surface of the skin. But when we talk about deep relationships, like, it's when we talk about a parent-child relationship, then it's not about the body, it's about, this man and buddhi getting connected. It's a connection of the mind and intellect and heart, and the heart is a part of the intellect. So when we talk about these relationships, then you see there's a considerable exchange of qualities and virtues and vices. So even when the parent has a weakness, that weakness becomes the child's weakness. Or when the parent has a strength, then that strength becomes the child's strength, because that's a heart to heart connection. And Baba says similarly, when we talk about this relationship with Baba, so for 63 births, what we did is, we thought Baba is a figurine. So, we only thought that Baba is a Shivlingam, or God is some deity, and there's a physical form. And we started having a relationship with that physical form. Now, that is a very surface level relationship. And then what did the relationship entail? The relationship was all about, going and chanting praise before the figurine, or just offering something externally. So the relationship was limited to that. If somebody asked you, what would you go and do in the temple? You would say, I'll pour some milk over Shiv Baba, or I would offer some flowers to Shiv Baba, or I would sing some, songs and chant some hymns before Shiv Baba. So that was all that we did. But you see, it's a very surface level relationship. Just like, these days, I remember I was talking to someone, and that person was very angry on the brothers. So the brother and sister, they were not talking to each other, and they were annoyed on each other. And then the sister was crying a lot, and she was saying that this year I didn't send Rakhi to my brother because I was very angry on him, and now I feel very bad about it. And she said, my relationship is broken because I couldn't send Rakhi to him, and I didn't, in fact, I didn't send Rakhi to him because I was angry. And now Rakhi is gone, so I cannot send also. So she was just feeling very bad. So I told her it's not the thread that you tie. It's not the day you tie it on. It's the feelings with which you connect to your brother. And now that you're crying for him, just call him, just let him know that you're thinking about him. And that is enough. So she said, no, but the day is gone, and I couldn't even tie a Rakhi, and I'm such a bad sister, and this and that. And she kept wailing and crying for it. And then I told her, no, it's not that. No relationship gets over if you don't send a Rakhi 1 year. So it's just, this is just very surface level. It's not like you forget somebody's birthday and that relationship is gone. So these are very physical ways of connecting in a relationship. And Baba says, you did the same thing to me also. Just remember today is Monday, so you have to go to the temple, and even if you're late, just go in a hurry and just do your thing and leave. And so we were just, this was a very surface level kind of relationship. And Baba says, that's not how you form a relationship. And Baba says, a relationship is between you, the soul, and I, the Supreme Soul. I am your father, I am your teacher, I am your Satguru. So it's what you hold in your awareness. It's how you use your mind and intellect, and how you connect with your mind and intellect. That is the sign of a relationship. And Baba says that in the whole 63 births in the past, we had no connection of the heart, did we? We were not even thinking about Baba when offering, offering our offerings to Baba. So Baba says, we had no connection. Now Baba says that bring to your awareness, who am I? I'm not someone physical who you connect to physically. I'm almost, I'm almost like this. I'm so subtle. I'm such a subtle point of light that I'm almost invisible. So Baba says, I do not have a physical form, but who am I? So you have to hold that in your awareness. Who am I? And Baba says that I come and give you the introduction of who I am. And who I am is, I'm a subtle energy, very subtle, no physical form, no gross form, and I'm the ocean of virtues, ocean of powers, and I'm your father, teacher, Satguru, and I'm here to create heaven for you and give you the inheritance of a happy and peaceful world. So Baba says that I give you my whole introduction, how I live in the soul world where you also lived like stars, and how you come and play your parts here and get depleted. and then I'm your father. So I have this part of coming and giving back your inheritance to you. So I take the body of Brahma Baba, I take that body on loan, I use it as an instrument, and I share with you the knowledge, and I give you the Shrimat, which gives you the power so that you can take your inheritance back. And whenever you turn your attention to me, I'm giving you a lot of love, support, strength, everything. So Baba says that I am the one who is doing all this, and when you remember me as I am and connect to me by knowing the truth of who I am, and with your heart when you connect to me, then you receive a lot of power through that. And Baba says, what is the power that Baba gives you? Baba gives us the directions and the power to become absolutely pure. But Baba says you can get these directions by listening to the Murli, which I speak by coming from the soul world, and you can get the power by connecting to me in yoga, by knowing who I am as I am. So, knowing me completely and connecting to me is the only way through which you can receive power. And in today's Murli, Baba says something very, very sweet. Baba says that when you come to the copper age, you forget me, but I don't forget you. And I keep supporting you in your whole bhakti marg. And if you look at it, Baba never breaks off the relationship with us. So, we forget Baba, we forget that He's there. We start, worshipping idols, and we start doing everything physically, and our mind and intellects are not able to connect to Baba. But whatever we do, Baba understands that there is an intention behind it, there is a love behind it. And Baba always supports us in bhakti also. And do you remember all the instances where Baba gave you the strength and support and everything? And I remember, there was this one girl, and she was telling me that, so when I told her about Baba, so you see, this girl had lost her parents when she was 6 years of age. And she had come to Baba when she was 23. So all these years she had survived without parents. And then when I gave her the introduction that God is your parent and He has come and He's giving you the inheritance of heaven, she told me something very beautiful. She told me, yes, I think, you're telling me who God is and where He lives and how He has come today, but I've felt His support and presence all these years. So, she told me, for the last 17 years, God, my parent, has only taken care of me. And she said that she told me, I'm not talking about something which is just an idea. I'm talking about very concrete things. She told me that, of course, I didn't know Gyan and all. So she said that she has been in situations where there is a threat to her safety and security. And suddenly, she receives this, she gets this feeling that, she shouldn't be here. And she leaves that place, and then she figures out that had she stayed there, damage would have been done. So she said there have been many occasions when I have felt that, there is some force guiding me, and because I didn't know where to look, so I just kept looking up sometimes and talking to God. I didn't know whether He's listening or not, but I kept talking to God, and I used to share that, this is what I'm going through, and this is my life, and these are my challenges. And I would often talk to him, and I always felt that he's listening and he's supporting and he's protecting all the time. So she said that yes, now I have a more concrete way of connecting, because now you're telling me that God is coming and speaking to me. So through the Murli, so I know what he wants, and I know how he's teaching me to protect myself now. So she said that now he is teaching me, enabling me, but even when I was not enabled, I felt his support and his presence and guidance. So she said, but of course I couldn't do it for myself. I always looked up to him. But now I think, with this whole Murli and this Raj Yoga, I will be able to take care of myself. And I told her that not only you will be able to take care of yourself, you will be able to take care of many others also. And you see the beauty that even in Bhakti Marg, Baba keeps giving us some support, some help, some guidance whenever we turn our attention to him. And then we come to Baba, and then Baba gives us the whole, knowledge about what is Pap, what is Punya, how are we going into debit, and how do we change that karmic debit into credit, and how do we come to a place where, nature and souls, they are not against us, but they are with us. And how do we come from disharmony to harmony? How do we change our vibrations from impurity to purity, so that, the universe also starts cooperating with us rather than setting obstacles for us. So Baba says, this is how I teach you. And in very concrete ways, Baba is teaching us how to be, so that the universe becomes a friend, and this whole drama becomes a harmonious play of moving from disharmony to harmony. And this is a very concrete way in which Baba is teaching us. But even in Bhakti, Baba guided us and supported us. And then Baba now says that now that you are receiving so much guidance from me, what do? Now you start sharing this with others also. You have to also enable every soul to receive their inheritance from Baba. And Baba also tells us that this is the only time to fill yourself with enough spiritual strength through yoga, through seva, so that for the next 21 births, you don't have to pray and beg and plead. You don't have to do anything. So Baba says that I tell you who I am, and when you connect with your man and buddhi to who I really am, you connect with the knowledge of the ocean of knowledge, you connect with the spiritual pure love of the ocean of love, you connect with the powers of the Almighty, because we were not even aware what are the powers of the Almighty. We only thought that the Almighty has the power to bring the dead alive. But Baba says, no, that is not my power. My power is to, I give you the power to tolerate, the power to accommodate, the power to discern, decide. So Baba says, when you have yoga with me as I am, who I am, and when you have this relationship with me, then in this relationship I fulfill you. I fill you so much that you are able to fill other people also, other souls also, and you are able to accumulate enough that will last you for the next 21 births. So this is Baba's Srimad today, that know me as I am, know me not as a physical thing, because I am not physical. Know me as the subtle point of light, who is the ocean of virtues, powers, and the giver of inheritance, the Father, Teacher, Sadguru, and know me as I am, connect to me as I am, and take the inheritance from me. And Baba also says that you have to remove your intellect from the old world, old bodies, old relationships, so that you can connect with me. Because you see, Baba and the world are in two different dimensions. So, the whole world is in absolute impurity, and Baba is the purifier, the ocean of love. And what is there in the world? The ocean of attachment, the ocean of lust. Yes, so Baba says, you cannot have both. You have to make a choice. And Baba doesn't say that the choice is about living at home or leaving the home. Baba says that doesn't matter. Whether you live at home, leave the home, it's the one and the same thing. But where is your Buddhi Yoga? Where is your Buddhi Yoga really? And do you even know your attachments? Do you know how attached you are to the body? Or do you know how attached you are to the relationships around? Or do you know how attached you are to the attainments and acquisitions? I remember, there was this one sister, she used to come, and it always looked like she understood Baba and had deep love for Baba. But when there was this thing with her leg, and she had some problem with the leg, and she went for surgery, and that surgery didn't go well, and then she had trouble walking and all. And then she suddenly stopped coming to the class completely. And I asked her to join online. I said, okay, if you can't walk, okay, you can join online, listen to the Murli, listen to the Manthan. And then she would say, no, I just don't feel like doing it. So you see that it's something happened to the body, and then you lose faith in Baba, because you're so attached to the body that everything becomes about the body. So when there is attachment is such an interesting vice, that when that attachment is okay, then the world is happy for you. But when that one thing is not okay, then nothing interests you anymore. And I have even seen people have panic attacks because of attachment. So there was this one Mata, and she and her husband had a fight one day, and then her husband left home, and he wouldn't pick the calls. And then this Mata, she wrote to me at 11 in the night that, Didi, I'm having panic attacks, and I'm feeling breathless, and I don't know what to do. I'm feeling very miserable. Then I asked someone who is a neighbor to her to go and look after her. But you see that whatever is a spiritual problem becomes a mental and a physiological problem eventually. So just like when you are spiritually powerful, even the body has strength. Have you noticed that? So when you are in good willpower, then even your body's muscles, they have strength. So I have felt that 5 days continuously without sleep we have done seva, and with spiritual power your body can also develop that kind of muscular strength. So similarly, when there is any vice inside, then it makes you very physically weak also. And this attachment and emotion, they are manifesting as anxiety, and maybe you are even attachment to ego. So you look at somebody's acquisitions and attainments, and you're looking at somebody's post and position, and then suddenly you start feeling very upset and very uneasy. So it's the mind, it's the body, everything is getting affected by it. And Baba says, in this kind of a condition, how will you have continuous yoga with me? Because you see that I have seen that there's a lot of up and down in this path with Baba. Why? Because whenever there is this attachment of the world pulling you, then your connection with Baba is lost. Yes, and do you understand that when you're cooking something, if you keep switching off the burner, then nothing gets cooked, even if you're cooking for an year. So similarly, Baba says, this fire of yoga, what is happening to the fire of yoga? So you listen to the Murli, you listen to a class, or you do a good Amrit Vela, and suddenly that fire of yoga is ignited. But as soon as your buddhi's yoga is connected to the old world, then suddenly that whole connection is lost. And so you are grappling with something in the old world, the body is pulling you, the relationships are pulling you, something in the external world is pulling you, and then you are so caught up in the up and down of that you suddenly feel very distant from Baba. And I remember there was this one sister, and she said that sometimes, Didi, I feel that I read the Murli yesterday and I kept revising it, and today I read a new Murli and feel that connection is there. And then she said, on some days, Didi, I read the Murli in the morning, and then I feel like 1 year has elapsed, and then tomorrow I'm reading the Murli. So I feel like, that one day I have had no connection with Baba absolutely. And that one day feels like it's kind of, I've been separated from Baba for a year or something. And it feels like a very new relationship. There is no connection at all, because so much of Buddhi Yoga is going into the old world. So this is why Baba says that you must understand that this old world is collapsing and you are a soul, and the more you grind this into yourself that I am a soul, I have to take my inheritance from Baba, and I have to keep my Buddhi Yoga towards Baba. You look at the sunflower. The sunflower is so intelligent. It always keeps its face towards the sun. So Baba says, even in nature, plants have this. Plants have this quality that they keep their face always towards the sun. So Baba says, you also have to maintain that awareness, hold that awareness that I am a soul and I am in the end of my journey and I am completely empty, and this is the only time to fill myself. So let me not get caught up in the body and relationships and things. And how do you build this detachment? By continuously seeing yourself as a soul which is separate from the body, separate from the ego, separate from the relationships. And the more you practice being soul conscious, the more you keep your buddhi's face towards Baba, Baba says you will be able to claim an inheritance. And 63 births of bhakti we have done, and Baba says just a little more, just this one life, this one Sangam Yogi life, you just do as I say, follow my Shrimat, and then for 21 births you will not have to worry about anything at all. So this is Baba's Shrimat. Om Shanti.